As a mother, there was a sense of urgency when I was in a position of having to make a choice of where to send my children to school. They had been in a Montessori school, and that was wonderful, and I loved it, but I didn't see the opportunity for the long term.
So I went to the school where our daughter was attending and found the very best teacher at that school and asked him, how soon should we move the boys? And he immediately replied, as soon as possible. So I asked why, and he said, well, once they've had a lot of freedom, they won't like sitting at a desk and being talked at for 8 hours a day. Before I could even think, I blurted out, I don't blame them. And he looked down at the ground for the longest time, and I thought I'd offended him. He looked up, he had tears in his eyes, and he said, I don't either.
Jeff and I decided we wanted to create our own community of learners. We didn't know what that would look like, and we started to pull best practices from all over, not knowing what we were creating, but knowing that we were creating something that didn't exist before.
There are really two modes of thought about how to improve education. There's the reform movement. We're going to take traditional education, public or private, and change it. And then there's the disruptive movement. We're going to actually create something entirely new from scratch.
Curiousness is basically the thing that seems to trump on all counts. It seems like if you just can be curious instead of just staying where you are, you will explore a lot more and you will get a lot farther. My first hard math I ever tried was calculus. And I'm like, what's in this? And I got taught it, and now I do math. Now math is a breeze for me because that's how it does. You have to be curious.
Really, the whole concept of students teaching themselves has been incremental. It's been a matter of trial and error. I know I was inspired when a number of years ago I met Sugata Mitra at the very early stage of his hole-in-the-wall experiments, where he was putting a computer terminal in some of the poorest slums and villages around the world and finding out that students could teach themselves, literally with no teacher, learn at a faster and better rate than the best private schools in the countries. So I was inspired by Sugata, and I kept that in the back of my mind. And as Laura and I began to experiment at Acton Academy, we saw that what he was learning and seeing in some of the poorest villages of the world was true here as well.
The teachers don't even answer very many questions, and I think that gives us a little more freedom.
192, 182, 172, 162. 162.
We usually start the day off with either a project time or PE or core skills. And core skills is basically our work time.
It gives us time to work at our own pace and do math and reading and spelling.
So, question for you. As an entrepreneur, what's the most difficult thing about starting a new venture? As you think about making this, it's not just writing a book, it's best-selling. Is it, can I make it, can I sell it, or can I find the investors? Kinsey?
I think it's can I make it, because if you don't make it, you're taking a really big risk, and it's also a lot of money. So, can you make it?
Agree or disagree?
I agree. I think it's can you make it, because if you never make it, you're not going to be able to sell it, you're not going to be able to pitch it to investors, so making it is the first step.
Lily? I'll agree. That's an agree. Claire?
I disagree. I think that it would be finding the investors, because if you cannot find the investors, then you don't have the funds to make it, and then you can't sell it.
The guides create a launch, lead the discussion, but they step out and let us go back and forth and discuss what it is. And the Socratic method is not just asking questions, it's asking questions that don't have a right answer. So it's not asking what is 2 + 2 = 4, because you cannot have a discussion about that, but you can have a discussion about what do you think about blank.
In the old days, and even today in traditional schools, learn to know is what's important. You want to become an expert, you want to memorize facts, you want to be able to regurgitate something someone's told you. Now in an age of Google, that doesn't seem to make any sense. All information is free today. So we're focusing more on learning to do, taking real-world challenges. We have to do something courageous. You may have to go sell something. You may have to pitch an apprenticeship. You may have to get up and give a speech in the shoes of Winston Churchill. You learn to do something, not write a 3-part essay. I mean, our students can do that too, but they can also write an email that will get them a job. They can write a stirring speech in a historical figure's shoes. And by learning to do, getting up and doing something hard in front of people in a real-world exhibition, you learn to be, because it's the courage to do that that forms all the rest of character. What we found out is if we challenge these students with caring first, if it's a matter of inspiring them, getting them excited, they'll learn at 10 times the normal rate.
I think that adults do not give credit to children. I think they don't think they're as smart and as tough as they really are. Children are tough, they're resilient, they want to work hard, they're so curious, and adults tend to want to rein them in. It's just amazing what they do and what they want and what they really want to do. They want to do wonderful things.
What do I want to be when I'm older? That one wasn't I didn't expect that one coming.
Well, I want to become a professional beach volleyball player.
Artist, actress, and author. I want to be a teacher when I grow up. Artist and author, and a soccer player too.
I have a few injustices that I want to fix, like corrupt government and animal abuse.
I'm a dancer at Ballet Austin.
A filmmaker. And probably a cinematographer.
I also am an artist.
A scientist. That's what I want to be. That's what I want to be because I'm good at chemistry, I'm good at math.
I'm really just waiting for something to come up or something that I really love to do, to be able to combine my gifts, passions, and injustices all together into one.
Is one of thousands of experiments that are going on now with disruptors around the country. And there won't be one size model like ours that fits everyone. There'll be thousands of models. Just like in the real world, there are thousands of different ways to do almost anything, but the concept and the belief that students can actually teach themselves and can learn on their own much better than inside a system, that's the idea that's revolutionary.
I think everyone in the class knows that they have a lot of potential and they can really do things. I don't think they tell themselves that. I think they say, I can get better, I can do this even more than I could before. I just need practice, practice, practice.
You can always learn from your mistakes. So if I mess up on something on math, I can make sure I don't do the same thing twice over.
You have a growth mindset, you're motivated to grow, and by the fixed mindset, you believe that making a mistake is, makes you feel bad and you feel ashamed of yourself. And others believe that making mistakes is an opportunity to learn. Most people at Acton are growth mindsets, I believe.
Really, if you fail early, cheaply, and often, it's a great thing because then you learn and you can get back up and you won't give up the next time when you actually are failing in the real world.
If at first you don't succeed, then you're in good harmony. There used to be a poster saying that and stuck to the refrigerator because that meant then it showed 4 important people today that failed and then succeeded. And then, because then that means you're learning off of stuff. That means you're learning and having a good time if you're failing. That means you're truly challenging yourself, not staying in your comfort zone the whole darn time.
There are 3 beliefs at Acton that drive everything we do. The first belief is that every student who walks in our door is a genius who is destined to change the world. Secondly, we believe that students should be in charge of their own learning. And thirdly, we believe that asking great questions is far more important than regurgitating correct answers. In fact, learning to do and learning to be outweigh simply learning to know.
Well, there are 3 main ways that we equip and inspire students at Acton Academy. The first, for core skills, is using the latest in adaptive software and real-life practice for reading, writing, and arithmetic. For example, we use Khan Academy, ST Math, Manga High, and a variety of other math programs, and let students choose the one that they like the most. For reading, the main goal is to get students to love to read. Anything and everything, and over time to step them up to more challenging work. In writing, the secret to writing is to write a lot. Our students don't just write essays though, They write thank you notes, they write web copy, they write pitches for projects. So they're writing things that they'll use in the real world to persuade a real audience. Secondly, and this is one of the fun parts, quest-based projects. Not just project-based learning, but actually stringing those projects together as if you feel like you were Harry Potter chasing after Lord Voldemort or Sir Lancelot in the Holy Grail. So these are a series of real-world projects where they learn 21st century skills with usually some sort of cost benefit connected. And then finally, as the students get into middle school and high school, real-world apprenticeships. Because after all, we're preparing them for a hero's journey. They need to learn to find that calling, that gift, the thing they do better than anyone else, that brings them great joy, that serves others in the world. We want them to experiment with a series of adventures in middle school and high school for pay. And so they're not in a science lab. They're working with a real scientist at the university. They're not playing at a lemonade stand. They're working in a real business.
Many people ask us, how do we know whether or not this really works? And it's a great question. We don't necessarily believe that national standardized tests are critical to a school. However, it has given us some data. And on average, our students are progressing rapidly through grade levels. We have had several of our students, and this is elementary age students, max out the Stanford 10 test, which goes through high school. So we feel confident that the basic skills are being learned and grasped, and we never teach to the test. We just one day say it's a special day, we're taking a test, and you get fun snacks. And they take the test, and they do really well. We feel very confident about the curriculum in that way. We also were ranked as one of the top blended schools in America by InnoSight, and that meant a lot to us because it means that people who are experts in education have looked at our school and analyzed what we're doing and given us 2 thumbs up on a national level.
The idea of looking at your life as a narrative that you have control over. I didn't figure that out for myself until I was in my 20s. But these young kids, some of them are 6 years old when they first come to Acton, are being given the idea that they are the protagonists in their life story and that they are the heroes. It's so empowering. I think it really gives the context that how they spend today affects what their choices will be for tomorrow.
I have great hopes for education in the future of America because I believe people are really experimenting right now and playing around with ideas and trusting things they didn't trust in the past. I feel that technology is just shattering everything that we've known and been comfortable with. I think that people accept that a system that worked in the early 1900s is not appropriate for us now. But I think free thinkers are the key, and that's what we're trying to protect here at Acton. The freedom to really think and to be who you are meant to be.
What I've seen happening at Acton in the classroom, what I've seen these children do and become, has made me feel that the Acton methodology really has the potential to change education on a global level. And that is what I would love to see happen. I feel like this little school that takes so many risks is a wonderful laboratory for innovation. Every day, the look in my son's eyes, the twinkle in his eyes, curiosity, joy, excitement, these things are so alive in him, and Acton cultivates that and celebrates that. And I feel really lucky to have him in an environment where his natural inclination is celebrated and nurtured.